Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another Minecraft Java video. Today we're going to be taking a look at some Fabric zoom mods, and these zoom mods for Fabric are really useful because they allow us to actually zoom in on a particular location that we are staring at, and it actually magnifies that spot for us, and it's really useful because we can actually see that spot up close and we don't actually have to go near that spot. We can just stand there from a distance and then zoom in into that particular spot. So I'm going to show you guys two Fabric zoom mods today, and these two zoom mods on Fabric are really easy to set up, and I'll just quickly go through each of them and then you guys can decide which one you prefer and which one you guys are going to use. Some of you might have used OptiFine in the past, and if you have ever used OptiFine you would have known that there is a zoom function when we do use OptiFine. So when you press C on your keyboard, you can actually zoom in on a particular spot. So with these mods, we are going to get a similar effect. At the moment on Fabric, the other shaders mod is called Iris Shaders. And when we use Iris Shaders with Fabric, we don't actually have any zoom functions available. So using these two zoom mods, you can use any one of them and you should be able to get the same function that you would get with OptiFine. Alright, so the first mod I'm going to show you guys is called OK Zoomer, and this is quite a nice zoom mod on Fabric. I am on the latest version of Minecraft, which is version 1.17.1, and it's really easy to use. You just press C on your keyboard and you can zoom in on a particular location, similar to how we would do it with OptiFine, for example. One good thing about OK Zoomer is that it can be customized, and it does have a few extra things available. You can actually configure this mod as well. So one of the cool things that I have noticed is that you can actually zoom in more. So by default, this is how much it zooms in. So as you guys can see, I am actually standing not that far away from that object. However, when I press C on my keyboard, I can actually see clearly, and I am able to see what is written on that sign there, as you guys can see over there. However, if I was to move my mouse wheel up and down, I am actually able to zoom in even more, and it's got quite a lot of zoom as well. So as you guys can see, I've actually zoomed in so much that I am actually able to clearly read that sign now, and it's quite a lot of zoom, as you guys can see. So this is actually different to some of the other zoom mods that we would have seen in the past, where you would only be able to zoom in at a fixed length. However, this one you can actually go in and out however you please. So as you guys can see, we are able to zoom in quite a bit. You can also go into the mod section. So you do need to have mod menu installed. So do make sure that you have got mod menu installed. And then once you click on the mods button in the main menu, you can actually click on the mod. So as you guys can see, this says OK Zoomer, and it says adds a highly configurable zoom button. By default, this mod provides its own take on zooming. However, with configuration, you can drastically change the zoom with something more familiar or useful. The zoom is yours, and to configure this mod, all we need to do is click on the configure button over here, as you guys can see at the top right there, and we go into the OK Zoomer config menu, and there's quite a lot of stuff here that we can actually configure and change. So we do have the values over here, as you guys can see. We also have different options here. So one of them to note is that it says here cinematic camera. So when we zoom in, it gives us that cinematic feel, so the camera is moving around. You can actually go ahead and turn that off. So let me go ahead and do that now. And as you guys can see, I'm now able to zoom, and when I'm moving my mouse around, it's actually at a static type of camera, so it's quite snappy and it's quite fast. Some of you actually might prefer this option if you don't like that moving cinematic feel. So as you guys can see, it's completely still, it's not moving around. Now let me go back into the cinematic mode there, and let me show you what the difference is. So when I press C on my keyboard, when I'm moving my mouse, you can see that the camera is moving at a much slower pace there, as you guys can see. So if you guys like to zoom in and quickly have a look at an object, then disabling that option might be viable for you. However, some of you might actually prefer the cinematic feel, so you can go ahead and just enable that as well. So let's go back into the config menu here. We do actually get three different modes. So we get off, we get the vanilla. So it says vanilla uses vanilla's cinematic camera, and it says multiplied. So multiplied is a multiplied variant of vanilla as well. So you can go ahead and choose a different setting for the cinematic camera. You can choose all of the other options here as well. So you can see that we have zoom overlay, zoom scrolling, zoom mode, and the extra keybones as well. And we also have the reduce sensitivity option there as well. When we scroll down, you can actually go ahead and configure the different values for this. We also have different presets here. We do actually have 3 different presets. So we have the default preset, which says default resets to the default settings. We also have the classic preset, which says classic makes the mod imitate OptiFine zoom. So any of you who are looking for that OptiFine type of zoom feeling, you can go for the classic preset as well. And then we also have the persistent preset, and it says persistent is based on the persistent zoom mode. So you guys can go ahead and choose one of these presets as well if you wanted to do that. Another thing to note is that sometimes if we go into our controls menu here, we can see that sometimes the zoom key, so if you scroll down to where it says zoom, sometimes the zoom key by default, which is set to C on our keyboards, might be taken by another function. For example, sometimes the C key might be actually set on the save hotbar activator function. So some of you might actually come across a situation where you look at the C key and it's in red, and what that means is that it's actually being used up by 2 or more different functions. So do make sure that your zoom key is not in red, and you can go ahead and actually change that to whatever you like, but I like to use my zoom key as the C key. So let's get rid of the save hotbar activator for now. But if you guys do notice that your C key is showing in red, do make sure to find the other function, and you can go ahead and change that to another key, or you can actually just change your zoom key to another key as well, whichever you prefer. So let's go back into the game. As you guys can see, this is now using the different presets and different options that I had selected. I really do like this zoom in and zoom out function on the mouse wheel. You can also change this to be able to use your keyboard to zoom in and zoom out by going into the options, clicking on controls, and then there is a section here where you can actually set your keys. You can set specific keys to actually decrease the zoom or increase the zoom. So let's go ahead and try that now. Let's go ahead and select some keys to decrease the zoom and increase the zoom as well. Let's select these keys, and let's select this key as well to reset the zoom. And let's try this out. I'm going to press C on my keyboard. I'm going to look at that signpost there. I'm going to press the key which I selected for zooming in. As you guys can see, I'm pressing the key now, and I could actually zoom out by pressing the other key as well. And I can press the reset key, which is going to reset my zoom as well. I can actually hold the key down, and it's going to quickly zoom in and zoom out like so. And I am able to do the same thing with my mouse wheel, which I think is much easier. So you just press the C key on your keyboard, and then you can zoom in and zoom out quite nicely with your mouse wheel. I'm now going to show you guys another zoom mod, and this one is actually called Logical Zoom, and it's quite a simple zoom mod, and it does exactly what it says. You just press the C key and you can zoom in. You can't actually zoom in or out more than the actual zoom distance there, so this is as much as you can zoom in, unlike OK Zoomer, where we were able to select our zoom distance and use the mouse wheel. You can see it cycling through my inventory there at the bottom. However, it's not actually zooming any more than this distance. It does have the cinematic camera on by default, so any of you who are using this mod, do be aware that if you do zoom in, you will have that cinematic type moving camera, which does give it a nice realistic type feeling. So any of you guys who do like the cinematic type camera when we do zoom, you will enjoy this mod as well. If we go into our mod section, click on Logical Zoom, there is no configure button here, and as we can see from the description, it does say a simple zoom. So this is actually a simple zoom mod, and it is made for the pure and simple function of zooming in. So we do have 2 options. We do have the OK Zoomer mod, which gives us a slightly more flexibility, and we can choose presets and configure the zooming distances as well. Or we have this simple zoom mod as well, which is something that you can just install and then forget about that and use it whenever you guys do want to zoom and get that nice zooming type effect that we were used to seeing with OptiFine. Hopefully you guys have found this video useful. If you have, please do give us a like. If you have any comments or queries about how to install the 2 zoom mods I have shown you guys today, do leave them in the comment section below, and also please do subscribe to this channel to help support it, help it grow, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.